10 seconds. That's how long the average kiss lasts. And in those 10 seconds, you exchange up to 80 million bacteria. Think about that. Two people, faces pressed together, mouths open, swapping microbes like it's nothing. Biologically, your body should probably be alarmed. Another person is close enough to your mouth, your breath, your immune system, and your most vulnerable senses. And yet, your brain treats it like comfort. If I asked you why right now, you'd probably smile and say love, romance, passion. Sounds obvious, but strip away the candlelight, strip away the movies. Look at this the way a scientist would. Two primates exchanging bodily fluids. For no reason that's immediately obvious. So here's the question we're actually chasing tonight. Why would something this messy, this risky, become one of the most emotionally loaded signs of affection we have? We assume it's about romance. But that assumption starts to crack pretty fast. And once you see what might actually be going on underneath it, it could change how you see your own body, your relationships, maybe even what you think love is. Because kissing may not have started as love. It may have started as something older, a way to get close enough, to test another body, bond with it, and decide whether it could be trusted. We assume kissing exists because of love, but that idea doesn't hold up under a closer look. Start with reproduction. If kissing were necessary for it, you'd expect to see it everywhere in the animal kingdom. You don't. Almost every species reproduces with no lip contact at all. No kissing, no hesitation. They just mate. Nature has no problem creating life without romance, without poetry, and without lips touching at all. So that's not it. Maybe it's about health then, except it isn't really. You're swapping saliva with another person. That's one of the fastest ways to pass on pathogens. Biologically, it's closer to a risk than a benefit. So maybe it's universal at least, a language everyone speaks. Except anthropologists who studied 168 cultures worldwide found that romantic kissing showed up in only 46% of them, less than half. In a number of indigenous cultures, it's not even seen as pleasant, so one assumption falls, then the next, then the next. Not necessary for reproduction, not particularly healthy, not even universal. Which leaves us with a strange question. If it's not any of those things, why do we still do it? The answer probably isn't just cultural. It might be something written further back, into the biology itself. Not one simple reason. More like 3 layers: information, bonding, and trust. One possible starting point is smell, and a shift researchers trace back roughly 1.7 million years. Most mammals choose mates through scent. Dogs, cats, constantly reading chemical signals in the air. It's direct, it's efficient, but early humans changed course. We stood upright. Our noses moved further from the ground, and over time, our sense of smell became less sharp. That creates a problem. If you can't judge compatibility from a distance, the way other mammals do, how do you check it? One theory. You get close, really close. So when you kiss someone, as some researchers argue, you're not just being intimate. You may be moving close enough to pick up signals. Your conscious mind doesn't fully understand. Around your lips and face, there are sebaceous glands. They release chemical signals that may carry information linked to the body. This gets linked to something called MHC genes, major histocompatibility complex. These genes shape how your immune system responds to threats. And here's an interesting finding. A few studies point to people sometimes seem more drawn to partners with different MHC profiles than their own. Why would that matter? Because more genetic diversity can mean stronger immunity in offspring. It's not a confirmed deterministic mechanism. The science here is still being debated. Your lips are not running a perfect DNA test, but the possibility is fascinating. Attraction may not begin only in the heart. It may begin in information. Your body collects before you can explain it. Ever kiss someone who looked perfect on paper, but something just felt off in the moment? It might not be random. Your brain may be responding to signals and we don't fully understand yet. Not love at first. Information. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Romantic kissing. As we recognize it today, may be much more recent than the behavior it came from. The earliest recorded evidence of romantic kissing goes back about 4,500 years to ancient Sumeria. So, what were humans doing before that? One place researchers look for clues. Our closest relatives, chimpanzees, gorillas, they don't kiss romantically, they groom. Before kissing was romantic, it may have been practical, not candlelight, not music, parasites, for hours, every day, picking through each other's fur, removing dirt, parasites, lice. But grooming is not just cleaning. In primates, it can mean friendship, peacekeeping, status, and trust. And at the end of that process, something interesting happens. They press their lips to the skin and gently remove whatever's left. Some researchers call this the groomer's final kiss. For them, it looks less like affection and more like hygiene and bonding rolled into one. Now here's the shift. Around 1.2 million years ago, humans lost most of our body hair. Grooming, in that physical sense, became less necessary. But not everyone agrees this behavior explains kissing on its own. Some anthropologists argue romantic kissing may have had more than one origin, not just a leftover grooming instinct. Still, it's a striking possibility that an old survival behavior got repurposed from parasite removal to emotional signal, from hygiene to something we now call romance. Same action, different meaning, layered on top. The body kept the gesture. Culture changed the meaning. Now let's go deeper. Because this isn't only biology, it's psychology too. Think about clothing for a second. Clothing hides the body, it protects, it creates distance. Kissing does close to the opposite. It removes that distance almost entirely. And think about where you're exposing yourself: your face, your neck, your throat, your airway. In survival term, that's a vulnerable zone. If a predator got that close to your throat, it wouldn't end well. So when you kiss someone, you're overriding something old. Your amygdala, the part of your brain wired to flag danger, is being told something unusual. Stand down. I trust this. What you might really be communicating has nothing to do with words. Something closer to, I'm giving you access to my most vulnerable point, and I'm betting you won't hurt me. That might be what it is, or maybe it's simply how we learned, over time, to signal trust to another person. Because intimacy is not just closeness, it is closeness without defense. That may be why a kiss can feel so powerful, not because it is safe, but because it is risky. And the other person chooses not to harm you. Once you start looking at it this way, a pattern begins to appear, and it appears in places you wouldn't expect. Different cultures did not copy each other. They may have solved the same problem in different ways. Western cultures lean toward the French kiss, direct lip contact. In some Arctic communities, people describe nose-touching gestures. They also use scent-sharing gestures. Outsiders often call this the Eskimo kiss. In New Zealand, the Maori practice the hongi. They press their forehead and nose together. They share breath. The actions look different. At first glance, they seem completely separate, but the pattern underneath is similar. Close the physical distance. Exchange some kind of biological information. Signal trust. The form changes from place to place. The function underneath stays surprisingly similar. Lips, noses, breath, skin, different rituals. The same ancient problem. How do I let another body come close and know that I am safe? So zoom back out for a second. Think about tonight. The moment you close your eyes and lean towards someone you care about. Your brain probably isn't only feeling love in that instant. It might be running something older, possible immune signal reading, a vulnerability test, passed down through generations. Or maybe evolution didn't plan any of this. Maybe we are simply interpreting patterns that happened to survive. We built cities, we launched rockets, we decoded DNA, but we never stopped doing this, pressing our faces together, Maybe it started as something cold and biological, and somewhere along the way, it became something warmer, something we now call love. So the next time someone says, it was just a kiss, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was your body doing something older than language, testing closeness, testing trust, turning biology into meaning, and somewhere along the way, we gave that feeling a name, love. If you want more stories like this, the hidden biology behind everyday human behavior, subscribe and stay curious. See you soon.